Hi, this is Christian, and welcome back to NFL Updates Express, your weekly dose of NFL news, coming your way the Thanksgiving Day special episode. Kick off your Thanksgiving the right way as the 3-7 Chicago Bears take on the winless Detroit Lions. Now, this game doesn't scream exciting, but it's still football on Thanksgiving Day. And for the Bears and Lions, they both could be without their starting quarterbacks. Jared Goff could miss his second consecutive week with an oblique strain, and for Justin Fields, he suffered a tough rib injury, and the Bears are concerned that he may have injured his spleen as well against the Baltimore Ravens. And so it looks like Andy Dalton will get the go as he started the season before giving way to Fields, the rookie. Now, Fields has looked good, and if he gets the go in this game, the Bears should be able to win it pretty easily. But even with Andy Dalton, I feel like the Bears are just a much better team here. They have a lot of talent on offense. Allen Robinson, who's been kind of up and down this year, but Darnell Mooney, he's really picked up in his second season. And for the running backs, Khalil Herbert has filled in admirably for David Montgomery, but Montgomery has come back from an injury and has played pretty solid. And so the Bears are going to have to rely on their run game, and so are the Lions here. Jamal Williams and of course, DeAndre Swift will have to be the big X factors for the Lions to have any chance of winning this game on Thanksgiving Day. But through the air, TJ Hawkinson could be the man of the hour. I expect the Lions to go to him early and often. So who's getting the Thanksgiving Day dub on this one? Well, I think the Chicago Bears are just a much better team, whether it's Dalton or Fields suits up. And unfortunately for the Lions, they'll drop to 0-10-1 on the year, and the Bears will improve to 4-7. Playoff implications on the line for both teams as the Las Vegas Raiders travel to Big D to take on the Dallas Cowboys. Now, for the Las Vegas Raiders, it's been a very up and down season. They started off the season 3-0 and one of the last remaining undefeated teams, but then a lot of chaos happened. Most people know about John Gruden, and after a lot of emails showing that he had homophobic and misogynistic quotes in his emails, he immediately stepped down from the team, and that caused a lot of uproar before Henry Ruggs, a wide receiver, just a couple weeks later had a big issue as he had a fatal DUI case and is now facing 20 plus years in prison. And so the Raiders season went to very optimistic to chaos in just a matter of weeks. And for the Dallas Cowboys, they've started off the season pretty well, but the last couple weeks they haven't been quite up to form, including a tough loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, who have struggled on defense. They just scored 9 points against them. And so both teams will be looking to get back on track and stay in the playoff race here. Now, the Cowboys are obviously in much better shape being in the NFC East division, but with the Eagles surging, winning 3 out of their last 4, and the Washington football team winning 2 straight, they don't really have as much room for error as maybe we thought. And for the Raiders, well, they're in a jammed-packed AFC West division. The Chiefs are starting to pull away, but the Chargers are right there, and the Broncos still are at 500 as well, record-wise. And so, again, this is a really big game. The Raiders will need to lock down their defense. They have not played well in the last couple weeks. They allowed 41 to the Chiefs in prime time, and then followed it up, giving up 32 to the Cincinnati Bengals. And that means probably the Cowboys are going to be licking their chops. Now, I know they won't have Amari Cooper due to COVID-19 protocols, but at the same time, CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup should be able to carry the load just fine. So who's going to win this game? Well, ultimately, I think the Cowboys are just in much better shape. The Raiders are kind of falling apart, in my opinion, with a lot of the off-the-field issues, as well as their offense not performing as well, and their defense giving up a boatload of points. But I do think this game will be close, and it wouldn't shock me if the Raiders pull this off. But ultimately, on Thanksgiving Day, I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys to get the job done. It's time to save the best for last. And no, I'm not talking about the leftovers on Thanksgiving Day. And it's the Buffalo Bills traveling to the Big Easy to take on the New Orleans Saints at 5-5. Now for the Bills and Saints, both teams have playoffs aspirations, but especially for the Saints, the playoffs are starting to fall away just a little bit if they can't win this game. And for the Bills, I don't think the playoffs are necessarily in danger, but the division certainly could be, with the Patriots surging ahead in the AFC East chase. Now the Bills have had some performances where they look like a top-tier Super Bowl contender, and then they have performances like against the Colts, allowing Jonathan Taylor to run wild all over their defense. And so this will be a very important game for both teams to get back on track. I think the Bills obviously have a lot more potential having an established quarterback at the helm with Josh Allen, and whereas the Saints are just trying to hold on with Trevor Siemian at quarterback. But I wouldn't count out the Saints just yet. They still have a strong defense, and if they can get Alvin Kamara back from a knee injury this week, I think they'll have a pretty solid chance, honestly, to pull the upset at home. So who am I going to take in this game? Well, ultimately, both teams haven't been in their greatest form in the last couple weeks, but I just trust the Bills just a little bit more, and so I'm going to take Sean McDermott and the crew to get it done in a close one. It's time for one of my favorite segments, Airing It Out. Now, who will be the best quarterback-wide receiver duo on Thanksgiving Day? Well, I'll give you 3 choices from the 3 games. Kicking it off with the Bears and the Lions, I'm going to take Darnell Mooney. He's coming off of a big game against the Baltimore Ravens with 5 receptions for 121 yards and a 80-yard touchdown reception. And so I think with all the attention going towards Allen Robinson, I think Mooney will be the beneficiary of this game. Coming in next in the Raiders versus Cowboys game, well, I'm going to go with CeeDee Lamb. And obviously, most people know Amari Cooper is out due to COVID-19 protocols, which means CeeDee Lamb will have a few more targets coming this way. And in addition, the Raiders' defense has not been very good, and so I think this will be a monster game for CD. Finally, in the nightcap, well, I think Stephon Diggs. Now, these are some easy choices, right? But I think Stephon Diggs, this team knows this is a must-win game to keep pace in the AFC East division. And when the rubber meets the road, Josh Allen is going to throw to his favorite target, Stephon Diggs. I think out of all of these 3 receivers that I just mentioned, Stephon Diggs will have the biggest game on Thanksgiving Day. It's time to take a look at the season so far and looking ahead to some predictions going forward. The first question I'm going to ask is, who's the Super Bowl favorite? Now that's the question everyone wants to know, and honestly, I don't know. There's so many teams that could make a push, and I think it's ultimately going to come down to whoever gets hot at the right time. Just when you think a team is looking dominant like the Rams or Titans or Bills, they have an inexplicable loss to a bad team. And so I think this year, who knows? Could we see the Ravens and Lamar Jackson finally push their way to the Super Bowl? Will it be the Chiefs going through again? Or maybe even the Patriots? You can never really count them out, especially with the rookie quarterback who's been playing pretty solid. As for the MVP race, well, I have 2 or 3 choices right now. I think Tom Brady is the safe option. He's just had another solid season, nothing incredible, but in a league right now where no one's really stood out, I think that Tom Brady would probably win it if the season ended today. But there is a dark horse, and his name is Jonathan Taylor, the running back for the Indianapolis Colts. He had an incredible game against the Buffalo Bills on the road, scoring 5 touchdowns, including 4 on the ground for 185 yards. And so Jonathan Taylor, he has over 1,000 yards on the year and 13 touchdowns, and there's still just about half the season to go. Jonathan Taylor could break 2,000 yards and over 20 touchdowns, and if he does that, he could maybe win Offensive Player of the Year and or MVP. That would be quite the story. And let's take a look at some of the biggest season surprises. For the AFC, I'm going to say the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I had them projected at 7-10 this year, and I thought they'd be pretty decent, but I didn't expect them to be this good this fast. Joe Burrow has impressed coming off of his pretty nasty knee injury last year, but it's been really Jamar Chase coming onto the scene out of LSU. he's really cemented his claim for Rookie of the Year and has really given the Bengals playoff aspirations and hopes this year. As for the NFC, well, there's no one that's really stood out to me, but I think the Philadelphia Eagles are really rounding into form. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles have really looked great on offense in the last couple weeks, scoring at least 30 points in 3 out of the last 4. And so the Eagles, don't write them off for making the playoff push and even maybe winning division. They still have to play the Giants twice, the football team twice, and the Cowboys. And if they can win a decent amount of those games, they could be in the playoffs.